reflection today, I just changed the title on again. I'm calling it Recognizing Christ. In our scriptures today, we have 11 lepers cured in both the first and the gospel. Of the 11, only Naaman in the first and the Samaritan in the gospel give thanks to God for their awesome and incredible gift of removing the dreaded disease from their bodies and their lives. Leprosy, now called Hansen's disease, was a sentence of death and a life of isolation until that death, until 1873, when G.H.A. Hansen discovered the disease was not transmitted by touch, but through an airborne bacterium. In 1940, treatment with modern antibiotics was started. In 1963, the multi-drug therapy began and became the standard practice that it is still today. There are outbreaks of one of the 4 strains of Hansen's disease within the United States, at least on an annual basis, but rarely are they publicized because of how easily it is now treated and eliminated. But it still carries the bias of old. But in biblical times, the only treatment was to live in a leper colony outside the city and wait to die in 5 or 7 years. It was a crime punishable by death, by stoning, to cause someone else to get leprosy, except for those who chose to work in the leper colonies. Thus, why the 10 lepers called out to Jesus Christ from across the square. Now imagine you had such a disease. It was the equivalent of that would be AIDS or HIV in the 1980s or 90s, when there was such fear of how it was transmitted. Remember the hysteria of using the same drinking fountain or catching it from the same public toilets and the like. Now imagine you were a stranger in an area and you would go out with a group of known gay men, infected men, in order to interact with the Savior of the world, if he could save you. Sir, Master, please have pity on us. We each have the virus of HIV or AIDS and can't be hired and will die horrible deaths. Please have mercy on our souls. The man that you think may be the Savior of the world replies, "Go show yourself to the priests at the mission." So they all go off together. But one suddenly notices that the sores that were on his arms and his hands and his face have healed. Another notices that he's no longer coughing up blood and he has no fever. They all go to the mission hospital and had their blood tested for virus loads, and they were all tested as WNL within normal limits, or were carrying no virus at all. This had never happened before. A spontaneous healing of either HIV or AIDS, and here there were nearly a dozen healed. The fellow from out of town said, "I'm going to try to find that man. I'm going to thank him for this mercy. Is anyone else coming with me?" But no one appeared to have heard him in all their celebrating. So he went alone. He wandered the streets for about an hour before he found the street preacher. And upon seeing him, he fell to his knees, calling out, tears streaming down his face, "I am a grievous sinner, but you saw fit to show mercy to me. How may I show you my thanks to you for this act of mercy and forgiveness?" The preacher answered, "Love one another as I have loved you. The mercy I have shown you, show others. I can see the stone of a heart has broken, and is now beating as a human heart again. Do not return home, else you will return to the hate and to wearing the sheet. Your faith has saved you. Peace be with you. And with those words, the Christ was revealed to the man. And then again was the simple street preacher again. How and where will Jesus appear to you? Will you be ready for him? Will your faith be strong enough on that day, at that time? Be honest with yourself, and I'm sure it will be. You are a grievous sinner, and all are always in need of forgiveness, as are we all. Remember this always. Peace be with you.